Hello everyone once again and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host Caleb Gillock. Here today to talk with me about women's basketball is Kristen Miller. Kristen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let's talk a little bit about you to start with for our listeners and viewers that don't know. Tell us about where you went to high school and how your high school career went.
Okay. I live in Ohio. I went to Ottawa Glandorf High School. Pretty small. It's a Division III high school. I graduated with probably about 125 kids. But our high school is known for our athletes, basically. Our sports, we usually do fairly well in each sport, boys and girls both. As a player, I would have to say, there were some hard times, obviously. We had a changing coach and staff, all new staff my junior year, going into my junior year. So I had a women's coach for my freshman and sophomore year, on varsity both. And then I got my first male coach my junior and senior year. And he pushed us. He pushed us really hard. But I couldn't be any more thankful because he got me here, basically. I would have to say that my senior year was probably my favorite. We went 25-3.
Wow.
Yeah, we made it to district finals for the second year in a row, and we lost by 2. But that's okay. We gave it our all. It was a good team. So I was very proud with my high school career. There's always room for improvement, but I'm glad I could continue here.
Now, did you play any other sports besides basketball? Or did you take any?
Well, I played softball for 3 years in high school, but my sophomore year I couldn't play. It was fun. I liked softball because it was basically a relaxed sport, more relaxed than basketball, because basketball is all up and down, fast break, you gotta be in condition. Softball is more of like a love of the game, and get dirty, and it was fun.
Were you involved in any extracurricular activities?
Yes, I was the president of a student council at my high school my senior year. I was in student council for 4 years, freshman through senior.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about basketball here this season. Of course, your one win over the 500 mark. Tell us about how this season's been going.
The season has been going pretty good. We're freshmen, so, we can't use that as an excuse anymore. We have great athletes, good abilities, to do whatever we want. We have great shooters, great inside game. Our defense is getting a lot better. We struggled at the beginning of the season, I think, probably finding out who we are and what kind of game we want to play, because we were all transitioning into the college game. It's a lot more fast-paced than high school. None of us really knew each other, so we've never played together before. So that was difficult, but I think we're going to continue to keep getting better. Every game, I feel like we get better. There's things that we do wrong, but there's things that we also improve at, which is really good because we look at that every day at practice, and we know what we need to work on. But I would say, for sure, this next half of the season should be a good turnaround for us.
Right. This, of course, is the first season for the women's basketball program, as many of our watchers know. Is the team better than you thought it would be?
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to bring 12, 13 girls in and say, hey, go play college game and be good, It took a while for us to get together and be able to play together and know who does what. You got to know, what each person does and what their strengths are. But we found that. We'll continue to get better at it, but as of now, I think that we've done a fairly good job of it. Although our record doesn't show the best, I think we are a team that people will fear, at least by the end of this season.
Right.
Because, I'm excited for the next 4 years, because if all of us stay together, we're going to be pretty good. We have great athletes and great basketball players.
Well, let's take a look back at some of the recent games. Of course, on December the 2nd at Holy Cross, you won there 95-84. Tell us about that game.
It was good. I think we came out and lost the game previous to that game, so we knew what we had to do. They ended up shooting a very good free throw game, which hurt us a little bit because we were up for the most part by quite a bit. And then we kind of let them come back for a little bit, but we don't really dwell on that. A win's a win. We knew what we had to do to get that win, so we did it. There's always room for improvement, though.
And there's also the conference opener against Carlo. That was on December the 6th. It was an 85-58 win. Tell us about that game.
That game was fun. It was our first conference game ever. So it was really exciting. We knew what we had to do once again, but I'm pretty sure that, although we were told that they were going to be pretty good, which they were, we knew what we had to do. We didn't dwell on them being a conference game. We didn't say, oh my gosh, we have to win this game. We just played it like any other game, and we came out and did what we had to do, and we got the win. It was a great start to our conference, for sure.
And what was it like to be able to clinch that first conference win?
It was a great feeling. We came back and we felt accomplished. We'll never be satisfied because there's always things that you can do better. But we were accomplished, and now we just look forward to the next one.
And, of course, the most recent game was on the 13th at Bethel, 93-89 loss. Tell us about what happened there.
Like I said, Bethel is the number 9 ranked team in NAI Division I, so we knew it was going to be a game of runs. They were going to hit some shots that we probably, even if we contested as best as we could, they were probably going to hit them. They're a great team. It was fun to travel 7 hours down there to see what it's like. But I would say we can't really dwell on it because we gave it our best. Losing to number 9 ranked team by 4 as all freshmen, that just shows what we are capable of, and people are going to fear us because of that. We gave it our all. There were things that we could have done better, like every other game, but I was very happy with how we played, and we didn't give up. We kept fighting till the end.
All right, well, let's take a look ahead. Of course, on the 20th, you'll be at IU South Bend, and on the 30th, you'll be at Northwestern Ohio. What do you know about those two teams?
IU South Bend, we don't really know much about them yet, but I know that they're pretty good. I know that they're a game that we have to take very seriously, but I don't doubt one bit that we can't do it. As long as we play our game and we're confident and we shoot the ball with confidence, we'll be fine. We have great shooters, great inside game. I'm excited for it. As for UNOH, that's down by my hometown. It's about 25 minutes from my hometown, so I'm excited because a lot of my home fans will be there to support me, and that'll help a lot for me at least.
Right.
I have been told that they're a pretty good team, but like I said before, I'm not going to look past them, but I'm not going to say, oh, we're going to beat them. But as long as we play our game, we shouldn't have a problem.
All right, well, I have one last question for you. And that is, what champions of character value does the women's basketball team best exemplify? The 5 core values are respect, responsibility, integrity, sportsmanship, and servant leadership.
I would say in bits and pieces we do all of those. For the most part, I would say probably responsibility, though. We are responsible for each other's actions. We don't hold, we hold people accountable for mistakes and stuff like that, but we know it's a team game and we are responsible for each other. So I would probably say responsibility just because of that. We play as a whole, we're a team, we do it together, we lose together.
Right.
So.
All right, well, thank you for joining me today. Glad that we were able to have you on the show. Be sure to go online to IUERedWolves.com and take a look at the schedule for the women's basketball team. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they'd already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
Sometimes I think the fates must grin as we denounce and insist. The only reason we can't win is the fates themselves that miss. Yet there lives on an ancient claim, we win or lose within ourselves. The shiny trophies on our shelves can never win tomorrow's game. You and I know deeper down, there's always a chance to win the crown. But when we fail to give our best, we simply haven't met the test of giving all and saving none until the game is really won. Of showing what is meant by grit, of fighting on when others quit, of playing through, not letting up. It's bearing down that wins the cup, of taking it and taking more until we gain the winning score. Of dreaming there's a goal ahead, of hoping when our dreams are dead, of praying when our hopes have fled. Yet losing, not afraid to fall, if bravely we have given all. For who can ask more of a man than giving all within his span? Giving all, it seems to me, is not so far from victory. And so the fates are seldom wrong, no matter how they twist and wind. It is you and I who make our fates. We open up or close the gates, on the road ahead or the road behind.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and joining me to talk about men's basketball today is Brad Hunt. Brad, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not doing too bad. Glad to have you on the show. Tell us about yourself. For the viewers that don't know you, tell us where you went to high school and just a little bit of your basketball background.
I went to a decent-sized school called Jennings County High School in a small town called North Vernon, Indiana. It was the only high school in the county, so we had about 1,600 kids there. It was a small-sized 4A school, and I started my basketball career probably around when I was 3 or 4. I saw a Bulls versus Blazers game, and that was the first time I think I really fell in love with basketball. It was a great game to watch, and ever since then I've loved the sport, loved playing it. How was basketball at Jennings County in your high school career? It was all right. We didn't have the greatest talent level, really, but we did well with what we had. We actually last year had our best sectional finish in 10 years, so that was it was great to be a part of that. Sad that we came up short, but it was a great season, and I had a lot of fun with it. Well, aside from basketball, I also hear that you're a talented singer. You're part of your high school show choir as well, correct? Yeah, I was. It was more of just a thing that I enjoyed doing. I had several friends who did it, so it was nice to be a part of that. Now, what made you decide to come to IU East? Well, I really liked the atmosphere. It was a pretty easygoing atmosphere, and I could tell from just walking around, seeing how things were run, seeing how teachers ran their classes, that it was just a type of school that I felt would be a good fit for me and how I like to go about doing my work, and just the relaxed atmosphere really was what sold it for me. Well, let's talk a little bit about this season. Of course, only 2 actual losses because the other 2 were exhibition games. Just tell us a little bit how the season's going for the team. It's going really well. I mean, we have obviously one of the school's best starts in its history, aside from the 2011 team that went to nationals. And I think that if we keep getting better like we have been, we have a really, really big shot at going there again this year. Well, let's talk a little bit about the 2 most recent games. The first one was December the 6th with a 90-76 win against Carlo. Tell us about that game. Well, I unfortunately wasn't able to play in that game due to a few reasons that I won't elaborate on here. But our guys did a really good job of playing a style of basketball that they haven't had to play a whole lot this season with usually Josh or I are in there, and it was good to see them playing well without a real 5 in there, which is what they're used to playing with. It was nice to see them step up and play well in that situation. What was it like to get that first conference win this season? It was a really good feeling. I mean, that was like Coach said, it was a big test for us, and it was a game that we needed to win, and we came out and won it.
All right, the other one was a 81-60 win against Purdue University North Central on December 9th. Tell us about that game.
We started out a little slow in that game. Obviously, we started out down 12-1, but battled back, got it to 13-13, and finally took back the lead at 16-18. Didn't look back from there. We did a lot of good things that game. Obviously, we had the slow start, but aside from that, we did a lot of great stuff. Our press looked really, really good. It looked like we were really starting to connect as a team on offense and on the defensive end as well.
What are Coach Hester's thoughts on the season so far?
I think I can't speak for Coach Hester, but I think he's pretty satisfied so far. But I know he would also say that we always have room to get better.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next two games on the schedule, the first one is on the 20th at Madonna. What do you know about them?
Absolutely nothing. I just know it's a school in Michigan, but we're gonna go up there and play them like it's the #1 team in the nation. I mean, don't back down. Don't play soft. Play hard for hopefully all 2,400 seconds of the game.
All right, and how about on the 30th against Indiana Tech? Do you know anything about them either?
I know a little bit about them, not a whole lot, but that should be a pretty good game as well, and hopefully we can come home with a couple wins.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of the alley-oops from the season. We're going to have you pick the best alley-oop of the season. The first one is Tyler Fangman against Cincinnati Claremont. And then the second one was Vache Davis against Great Lakes Christian. And then last but not least, the third one was Houston Clark against Carlo here at home.
It passes inside to Houston Clark. Nice oop there.
So if you had to choose between those three, which one would you pick as the best alley-oop of the year?
I think I'd have to go with probably with Tyler's. I mean, Huey obviously is extremely athletic, and you could see that with his dunk. And Vache had a really tough finish with his that he did a good job of finishing. But I think Tyler's was probably the best simply because it was transition. And it was unexpected to say the least, at least for me. I had no idea he could. I had no idea he could jump like that. So I think that for me that was the best one.
All right, let's take one last look at Tyler Fangman's alley-oop. All right, and I do have one last question for you before we let you go today, and that is, if you had to choose, what champion of character value does the men's basketball team best exemplify? Those 5 values are respect, responsibility, integrity, sportsmanship, and servant leadership. If you had to choose one, which would it be and why?
I think I'd have to say respect, mostly for each person on the team. Everybody does a good job of trying to make sure that each person stays accountable for their actions, as well as doing it in a manner that's not just yelling at the person, telling them do this right or don't do this. It's telling them, actually trying to get them to in a calm manner, getting them to see what they did wrong or what they need to do better. And it's not just yelling at one another. We have that level of respect for each other that we can do that.
Right. And what are you looking forward to the most throughout the remainder of the season?
Just getting out there and playing. Like I said before, I just love the game, love playing it, and I think I made a really good decision coming here with this great team, with all the opportunity that we have.
All right, well, we're definitely glad to have you here as part of the Red Wolf Nation.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more inside IUE Sports.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. It's time for Wolf Smack. Wolf Smack is where I will ask each of our guests a question. They have a chance to answer it. I'll pick a winner, and the winner gets 30 seconds of face time to promote whatever they would like. Joining me today for Wolf Smack is Brad Hunt and Kristen Miller. The question today is, what is the best Christmas present you have ever received, and what is the best Christmas present you have ever given? Kristen, we'll start with you.
Okay. The best Christmas present that I've ever gotten was probably my electric scooter when I was in 6th grade. I felt like I could drive then, even though you couldn't go on the roads, but we lived in the country, so we just drove them everywhere, as long as it was legal. Probably the best Christmas present that I've ever given would probably, I made a big box for my parents, and I kept putting smaller boxes in between it, so they thought it was a really big present. But in the end, it was just a note, and it said, "I love you, Merry Christmas." So I kind of got their hopes up, but it was funny. It's
kind of funny that you mentioned the box idea, because I actually thought about doing something like that this year. Brad, how about you?
I'd have to say the best Christmas present I ever received would have been back when I was around 5 or 6. I got a Game Boy Color and a couple Pokemon games to go with it.
Why was that the best one?
I loved Pokemon. Still play it every once in a while. So.
Hey, that's all good. How about the best one that you've ever given?
I think I'd have to say it was a present that my brother and I got my dad. It was a maul, which is basically a heavy-headed axe for splitting wood, because we'd recently gotten a wood furnace and he was having trouble with the axe he was using.
All right. Well, you both definitely made this a little bit of a difficult decision today, because they're both funny stories. And but we'll go with your story about the scooter, and you get 30 seconds of face time to promote whatever you'd like.
Okay, I'll talk about basketball. On Saturday, we have IU South Bend. I'm not really sure how they are. We don't really look that far ahead. We play each game by each game, so I'm pretty sure that we can get them. It's going to be a tough game for sure. They have really good players, I know that, but I don't doubt for one bit that we can't do it. We have a good team. We're all freshmen, but that's no excuse. We're athletic, so if we just play our game, I think we'll be fine.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining me today for Wolf Smack in today's episode. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports. It's time for Red Wolf Fact or Fiction. Red Wolf Fact or Fiction is where I'll ask our guest a question. They get a chance to answer it, but you, the viewer, can go to facebook.com/IUE Red Wolves and answer for yourself to say if Kyle is right. And if not, you can put the answer on the webpage. The first person to do so correctly will get an IU East t-shirt. So joining me for Red Wolf Fact or Fiction is IU East Assistant Athletic Director Kyle Wright. Kyle, the question today is, who was the first chancellor of IU East?
You're supposed to come up with a sports question. No one's ever had a non-sports question on here before, and I'm going to look really bad if I get this wrong. First chancellor. All right, so it was in the 70s. I should have gotten this by osmosis at some point, because for those of you that have been in the room where the athletics office is, if you walk down the hall to go basically anywhere, whether it's the restroom or the department or the graph center where the students hang out, there's a row of photos that have each of the chancellors and the years they were in office. So I'm picturing all these pictures and names, but I don't know if I can picture which one was the first one. All right, we'll give this a shot. I'm going to say it was Frederick Grossmeyer. I don't know the years. He would have had to start in 1971, but that's going to be my final answer, is Dr. Grossmeyer.
All right, so Dr. Grossmeyer is your final answer. If you think Kyle is right, go to facebook.com/IUE Red Wolves and say if he's correct. If not, the first person to post a correct answer will get a free IUE's t-shirt. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Ramachandran, the region's only hand specialist at Reed Orthopedic Center. Patients love how easy it is having everything under one roof and how easy it is to get here. Right here at Reed Orthopedic Center, right here in Richmond.
Welcome back to Inside IUE Sports, and that sound you just heard means that it's time for Wolf Center. Wolf Center is where we take a look back at last week's IUE East results and ahead to next week's schedule. You can download the Wolf House sound you just heard for free by downloading the free IUE East Athletics app at the App Store or the Google Play Store. Now taking a look back at last week's results, on December 9th, men's basketball team defeated Purdue University North Central 81-60. Tyler Fangman had 22 points, with 20 of them in the first half for the Red Wolves. And on December 13th, the women's basketball team lost to Bethel 93-89. Kristen Miller had her first career double-double with 22 points and 11 rebounds. Now taking a look at the schedule, on December 20th, the men's basketball team will be at Madonna at 1 p.m. And on December 20th, the women's basketball team will be at IU South Bend. Tip-off will be at 12 p.m. Both of those games you can catch at IUERedWolves.com. That concludes this week's episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.